This is your year in review episode of Movie Talk, including best posters. We're also going to be talking about things like best laughs in a movie, best trailers, and so much more, all here on Movie Talk. Happy holidays, everyone, and welcome to this very special edition of Collider Movie Talk. The year is over, and that means we need to look back on 2019 and figure out what was some of the best out there. What we're doing on today's show is we're breaking it down category by category. You saw a couple teases up top. This isn't our best movies of the year. We're specifying certain things in movies and marketing campaigns. You name it, I'm going to give you my choices, and so are John Rocha and Jeff Sneider. What's up?
What's going on?
How you guys
Merry
doing?
Christmas.
Happy
Hanukkah.
holidays. Happy Hanukkah to you too. All right, guys, you want to get into it because we have a very full show today. The first topic we're going to give you right now is best poster of 2019. You want to go around the table? Do you want to go first, Jeff?
Yes. Okay.
Let's hear it.
I got some honorable mentions. I mean, I think
surprise.
listen, you know me and Liz. The scissors image on the Us poster. That's a brilliant piece of art, and I actually love the Child's Play campaigns playing on Toy Story. I thought Child's Play did a fantastic job. But in terms of the most striking image this year on a poster, I went with Queen and Slim.
That was mine.
Was it really?
I didn't even look at your list. I swear.
Yeah. Queen and Slim, great minds think alike.
That's funny.
The photo of those two with the big yellow lettering of Queen that says Queen and Slim over it. I thought it was a brilliant piece of marketing, and it's. I mean, the film it's gaining a little bit of traction, but it hasn't sort of taken off the way I thought it might. But whatever. That's neither here nor there. I also just love how that's not just a piece of marketing material; it's something that happens and becomes important in the story of the movie. And I recently had the chance to talk to the director about crafting that image. And if you want to check that out, the interview's on the Collider Interview YouTube channel. But I don't know, just seeing the thought that goes into that, and then how you were able to use that piece that kind of created itself through the story in a sense in your marketing campaign. I feel like it'll catch your eye if you haven't seen the movie, but after the fact, you could look at it, and I don't know, maybe this is true dramatic, but it's like I could see into their relationship and into their souls in a sense. Just the poses.
It's kind of very striking
iconic.
And bold.
John?
Oh, it's a great choice. And that thing has made $34 million, so I don't know.
That's pretty good. That is pretty good
for a cop killer. I mean, for the theme and what it tackles nowadays, most people run away from political movies. I think it's done really well.
I guess it just didn't open well, which maybe gave me the idea that it wasn't doing well, but it is having staying power.
Yeah, I think people need to be talking about Queen, Slim, and Harriet a lot more than they're talking about it in box office numbers. But hey, we're talking about posters. And look, both of them great choices. Glad you both had Queen and Slim on your list. But Joker is the right answer. Let's take a look at that thing. Look at the beautiful, that's the one. The face. And Perri, you just mentioned something from the movie. That's actually a scene in the movie in the bathroom. I love the color of the dark into the green. The joy. He's not looking at you. He is lost in his own world. And that is a preview of what we're going to see in the movie. I love the font of Joker on there as well. A powerful, strong block letters, which mirror what you saw in the trailer. All of it about it just made you feel like it's not going to be a comic book or superhero movie. This is an art house film about a comic book character, and I loved it.
That specific one is a great poster, but really, if you look at any of the posters that they released for that movie, they're all incredible.
Yeah, I won't argue with your selection either. I just didn't want to give Joker all the awards today.
Yeah, I didn't have any honorable mentions. I followed the rules. Jeff Sneider.
Well, I am a rule breaker, so.
That you are. I wouldn't expect any less. All right, let's move on to best trailer. I'll jump in on that first because I've got like a little bit of a cheeky answer. My best trailer of 2019 is Cats. I had to do it. Really, when you think back on trailers of 2019 and you think about the conversation that one started dead smack in the middle of San Diego Comic-Con, I mean, really, whether or not the movie was any good, isn't that the point of a trailer? True. To spread the word and to get people talking? And that is exactly what that thing accomplished, for better or for worse. I will never forget talking about that at Comic-Con this year.
It's like 9/11 in a sense. Like, where were you on 9/11? Where were you when the Cats trailer hit?
That is quite the stretch of a connection, but I understand what you're doing. All right, Rocha, you want to take it next?
Certainly was an attack on my eyes. That's for damn sure when I saw that movie. So, it's not Sonic could be in consideration as well. If you want to talk about the trailer that it left people with a positive and negative impression. My choice is Avengers Endgame. I absolutely thought this trailer got you back into the world of what you'd left after Infinity War. The sadness of RDJ as Tony Stark hitting that thing and having the message come up and speaking to Gwyneth, to Pepper Potts, and just the emotion and the feeling within it, and also what they were going to do. This feeling of an epic nature, an epic journey, an epic mission, and what it was going to lead to, and that sense of almost melancholy or feeling that something negative was going to happen, some tragedy was going to happen in this pursuit. You got that through all of it, like kind of subtly happening under the trailer. So I love that. And of course, you're going to get the heroic action, and Thanos is back.
Jeff, you seem so moved by that speech.
You know what? I have to change my pick to Avengers Endgame.
No. You should.
You had it right when you said best poster. Joker for best trailer.
Yeah.
I mean, just see the Joker trailer. It was like, oh my God, I need to watch this immediately again. And then again when I get home. And then anytime I run into anyone, I'm like, hey, have you seen the Joker trailer yet? Mm-hmm. It was a work of art on its own in 2.5 minutes. You finally hear him, talk and just like you see his movements and the dancing and the operatic music. I thought was a big part of it. And then you see just at that very end the Joker with that iconic font, like you said. I think it promised that something special was in store for us, and sure enough, it went on to gross $1 billion.
The trailers for Joker were great, but when I think about Joker's video promotional campaign, the thing that immediately comes to mind, and probably always will, is that first makeup test where it had that kind of the effect on it that it revealed the look that he had for the very first time. I remember when that dropped, and I'm like, oh, like I see what you're going for, and it wasn't even part of the story in any respect, but just looking at that imagery kind of gave me chills and creeped me out.
Yeah, it's a great show. I mean, I remember watching it in the big screen on IMAX for the first time in the trailer. I'm like, just the trailer itself is already a piece of work, like a piece of art. And so the fact that the movie met the expectations of the trailer, pretty incredible.
All right, next up on our list, best fight scene. Who wants to go first?
I'll take it.
I'll fucking go right now, John. Let's go.
Let's do it.
Please do. Oh, Adam's going to get mad. You're ruining his frame.
Yeah.
What's happening right now?
It'll be two sounds, me hitting you hitting the floor. All right, my best fight scene is John Wick 3. When he takes on the two dudes from the raid. That fight scene was meta as well as incredible in the film itself, because Keanu certainly showing his age in this fight scene, getting the crap kicked out of him for the first few parts of that fight scene, then eventually finding his way back, and the show of respect at the end between the three men was fantastic, and let you know that it wasn't the last time these two guys and Wick were going to go at it in a fight scene. Certainly, I imagine John Wick 4 will have them coming back, maybe on the same team, which would be fantastic. See all three of them fighting somebody else. That'd be fantastic. So,
this is a good one. When I think about John Wick 3, though, I'd have a hard time choosing just one. That's up there, but the one with the dogs is too. I mean, that was just an incredibly well-orchestrated fight scene.
Mm-hmm. But that one had weapons, right? So I wanted to pick one that was like,
you set your own rules for fight scene. All right.
Yeah.
I hear you. What do you got for this one, Jeff?
Runner-up, Ford v. Ferrari. Matt Damon and Christian Bale rolling around, hitting each other with Wonder Bread. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not a John Wick level fight scene, but it's pretty fun in its own right. And then the winner for best fight scene does not contain a single punch. Or maybe there is a punch, but it's against a wall. Marriage Story. Marriage Story. Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson.
Good choice, man.
What a fight that is. I mean, you just feel so uncomfortable. It's like if you were to see this in real life between a married couple, you'd like back slowly out of the room, like,
Slowly?
You'd run. You'd run like the building was on fire.
Yes.
So, those two had to win best fight scene for me.
I definitely wasn't looking at a fight scene that way, but I feel like you bent the rules in just the right way
I interpreted the question a little differently.
I think I have the most obvious answer
Cats.
here, but it's totally fine because I think this is the answer. It's the Avengers Endgame battle, the portal scene leading into this is incredible. That shot, it immediately distracts me when I see it because it's so friggin' stunning. Yeah. And it's also the Alan Silvestri score. Portals is one of my favorite tracks of the entire year, where it's just that kind of the chill-inducing build of seeing the portals open one by one, and then just the epic nature of hearing that blend into that familiar Avengers theme before they charge into battle. And then when you even get further into the scene and see all the little pieces for each individual character. It's like everyone gets the time to shine. It really is the culmination of all of these films that we wanted to see. And I mean, not only did it not disappoint, but it exceeded my expectations. I really do think that movie overall is one of the greatest feats of 2019.
Absolutely, you can't deny that. And I think it's a great point you bring up with so many so many panels that you see come to life. So many comic book panels come to life, starting with Captain America in that moment by himself on that ledge against the entire scope of Thanos' army is an incredible moment you never thought you'd see on screen. And then what it all leads to, certainly that portal scene and the inspiration of that. On your left, breaks you every single time.
Jeff, I'm genuinely curious because you're not the biggest Marvel fan of the bunch. Did that scene kind of have that effect on you to any degree?
No, it was a little.
I thought maybe it still could have worked.
I mean, there are moments in the fight that I thought were really cool or whatever, but yeah.
What moments in particular?
Yeah,
Anything
what
come
moments,
to mind?
Jeff?
Oh God,
I genuinely want to know.
What notes do you want me to cut?
Anything having to do with Ant-Man, right?
Yes, exactly.
All right.
There
I
you
had
go.
a feeling that was the answer.
Little
All right.
Ant-Man, rooting for you.
We're gonna switch gears right now. We're gonna go into the best laugh. Who wants to do their funny scene first?
Come on, honorable mentions.
You have such a
Step up.
smirk on your face. You got to do it now.
I mean, so we're talking about a scene, a joke. Is that
Anything
it?
you
Because I
want,
couldn't-
yeah. Something that made you laugh out loud in a way you won't forget this year.
The best laughs I couldn't really choose, but I honestly didn't choose. There is no honorable mention. It's either Long Shot or Good Boys. Both of them were hilarious in their own right. Good Boys captured what it felt like to be 12 or 13 and have all these questions about sex and know absolutely nothing about it. We didn't even, I guess the internet was in its infancy back when I was growing up. If only I had John Rocha in my life, I could have asked him like a big brother.
Yep. Try doing it over dial-up. There we go. Yeah.
And then Long Shot is just, one of the great romantic comedies of the decade. I don't think that this movie got a fair shot, if you will, at the box office. It kind of is just forgotten. But everyone who's seen it or caught up with it on home video, I think, has really liked it. I think Charlize Theron is fantastic in this. And we're going to be talking about it a little bit later, too. So
I could not agree more. So when I think about the best laughs, most of if Cats doesn't count, and I didn't want to give Cats for two answers, one of my favorite movies of the year was Booksmart, and I can go with just about any scene in this movie, whether it's the Uber scene, which might be one of my personal favorites, the panda bit at the beginning. It's just one moment after the other, to like every moment where Billy Lord pops up, like everything in that is absolutely hilarious. That part where she's on the top of the ship and she just jumps off of it, I'm like, what the fuck is happening right now? I adore that movie.
Yeah, the stop motion scene is incredible. Even the first time they see each other with the dancing stuff, that was brilliantly
The
funny.
coolest thing about the stop motion scene, and another one, this isn't a laugh, but another one that I find really striking and atmospheric is the scene underwater in the pool. And those are moments that Olivia Wilde told me that she had to fight to keep in the movie. She was encouraged to take, more bold, daring things like that out, but she insisted that they were there. And I think they really had a major effect.
Yeah, overall.
I like the pool scene a lot in Booksmart.
Pool scene's great. All right, did we all?
No,
did you
best
do
laugh
S?
would be the Good Boys scene, the scene in the frat house. That scene is incredible for all three of them, freaking out about what they're experiencing. Way too young to be in that frat house dealing with what they're dealing with. And we get the first example of that actor scream laughing when in that situation, his high-pitched scream when everything starts to happen and the fight that ensues. All of that is incredibly funny. It's my favorite scene in the movie in terms of humor. And I thought it was one of my best laughs of the year, for sure.
All right, we're switching gears yet again and going into best scare. Rocha, I nominate you to go first on that one.
Oh, well, Jeff mentioned us earlier, the poster category. I have to go us this. When that family shows up at the top of the driveway and the reaction to everybody else, and then they start to move towards the house, absolutely lost my S word. I was just craziness what was going on in my head, and what the idea of facing this alternate version of yourself. What kind of madness and terror would envelop you in that moment? Because who else knows you better and can fight you better than an opposite version of yourself? So how do you possibly win that fight? So all around, I just thought that entire scene scared the living hell out of me.
There's something about even just the specific frames of when they first move at the end of the driveway that looks so unnatural and eerie. I wanted to include Us on my list. I mean, it is on my list eventually, but for the fight scene, I almost included for the Elizabeth Moss Tim Heidecker scene. That is one of my favorite set pieces of the year.
Yeah, you're so helpless watching what happens to her. Yeah.
All right, what you got for scare, Jeff?
You guys ever see Rocha without his makeup and his gel on? I was terrified that morning. No. But I did interpret this question differently. I chose a comedy. And you said it actually in the last question. Every time Billy Lord pops up in Booksmart, I was like, oh my Jesus Christ.
Seriously?
I swear to God, every single time she comes out of nowhere, I was taken aback in my chair. So that is the best scare for me. Billy Lord stealing scenes in Booksmart.
All right, bending the rules again, but I'm all for it. I didn't do mine. My best scare is I had to go the gory route. I guess brief spoiler. Spoilers for like everything at this point. Brightburn, the truck scene. That is one of the most brutal sequences I've seen all year with, exceptional makeup and gore effects like I've never seen before. It's such a vicious movie, period. But that scene in particular, you start to hurt for him. And I thought that was so well executed.
I've wanted to rewatch that movie because I did like it, but Stephanie doesn't like Elizabeth Banks. She's anti-Banks. And I'm
Banks is good in it too.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And I feel like it's very different from a lot of the other performances we've seen from her recently. I think she just works with horror very well.
I'm going to work on Stephanie. She'll come around.
I think it's a great second watch.
Did you see
first time.
Oh yeah.
Ooh.
Did you like it?
I thought she was good in it.
Okay.
It's one of those rare forays out of comedy where I think she's actually good in it. So I was surprised by it and her performance and like. So cool. Yeah. So Stephanie should, I understand her Elizabeth Banks. It's
just like
hatred. I respect that. But like
hatred.
Whatever she has. But I think this is a film you should actually work her on.
That movie has just been a little bit forgotten considering it's a big Memorial Day release.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I respected it.
It was a big Memorial Day release, I believe, but it wasn't treated like, like an epic superhero blockbuster.
I'm eager to see what that guy David Yarovetsky does next.
Oh, yeah, I know. He came in for Witching Hour, and I could listen to him talk about Brightburn all day long. It's also just, it's super R-rated, so it wasn't going to do as well as other superhero movies, but it's a mean movie, and I walked out really liking it, but not feeling that great because of how nasty it is. But, it's well worth a rewatch because it is thoroughly entertaining, and it also lets you appreciate all the crafts in the movie, too, which are way better than I ever anticipated. All right, next up is Best Score. I will pass it back to you, Jeff, for this one.
Joker.
Sorry.
It's Joker. Right. It's Hilder's score. I thought she just did an incredible job evoking the character and the pain that he has felt and suffered and, what he's going to inflict. She just catches the inner turmoil sonically somehow, and it really is a beautiful score that she
tried
created.
So hard to learn how to say her last name from Erlinger, and it was just absolutely
I'm just
hopeless.
Hilder.
Hopeless. So I told him I'm not even going to try. I'll just use her first name and call it quits. But that is an excellent choice there. One of my favorite things about Joker overall is the atmosphere, and I feel like her work in it supports that so much. And there's certain things. One of my favorite things about scores in general in movies is when you hear pieces of them outside of the film, and in a hot second it transports you right back to that moment. And I think that's probably true of, I think, the main theme and the bathroom moment. Whenever I hear that, I'm immediately back there.
Yeah. I agree with Jeff. That's my choice as well. I think it's good in a daughter. When you follow CrossFit, a lot of them are Icelandic and Swedish, and they compete. And daughter is a common last name for a lot of Icelandic people who compete. So there you go. I follow a couple of them on Instagram. And so you learn how to say the name because it's such an unusual name to have.
I semi-believe you, but I'm going to make Erlinger repeat it the next time he's here.
Show you.
I hooked up with an Icelandic once. Her last name ended in daughter as well.
It's certainly possible.
He put like a different spin on it. Well, like not rolling your tongue, but when you do something along those lines.
He's got that accent. That's what it is. But no, this is absolutely everything you said, everything both of you said, and it's just I remember putting it on in the office because sometimes I put my headphones on when I'm writing, and I had to take it off after about 20 minutes because I was getting angry. The score moves you in that direction, and not in a negative way. It evokes that film all over again for you, and the inner struggles that he is going through, and the fear, terror, horror, tension, everything that's going on inside Arthur Fleck when you're watching the movie, the score captures perfectly. I've said this a million times. That score is another character in the movie, and the movie is nowhere near as powerful or moving if it doesn't have that score on it. I think that score absolutely elevates the film, as well as the direction by Todd Phillips and the performance by Joaquin. That score elevates it into awards territory.
Good call for both of you. I went with something different. Joker I ranked my top 5, is my number 3 of the year. My number 1, though, is the score for Us from Michael Abels. I think it's just phenomenal. Yeah. That's something I will never, ever get out of my head. If you guys know how often I used to run for my marathon training to the Us score, it's ridiculous. And,
wow.
I mean, but it's partly because what I was explaining before. Whenever I'm running, I like to be distracted. And when I can cue up a score and immediately be able to picture what I like so much about that movie, a scene that I really enjoyed, I'll lose myself in the run very quickly. And that's definitely what happened here. But I mean, there are so many iconic sounds. Pas de Deux is the one that really got me. And I just love the build in that one. Even when you look at their use of I Got 5 on it.
Yeah.
Like now I will
Brilliant.
always associate that song with this movie. So that score definitely made a huge impression on me.
What's your number 2?
My number 2 was Avengers Endgame.
Oh, that's a great score.
I really do think Alan Silvestri made the most of creating new material that well supported the scenes it was paired with, but also when you listen throughout and you hear either when he directly uses themes that were used before or like mimics a style of a certain movie, I really do think the score is part of the reason why it feels like a culmination of all the movies that came before it. So that was my number 2.
Well, here's Sarah Sigmund's daughter. That's one of the CrossFit people I follow. There you go. Just the verification that's how you say it, I think.
Do you actually do CrossFit, or are you just following the instructors?
I did CrossFit for 3 years back in the 2010s.
Hey, the door's still open. I've invited you time and time again. You've been avoiding me for 2 years
You can
now.
play basketball with me.
In this condition,
I'll play
broken.
basketball now that I'm not running anymore.
Do you have new shoes?
I need to buy them.
Yes, you do, Perri.
I promise you, when we're back in the new year, I will go buy new shoes
Good.
and come back to the basketball courts.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Because with Rocha, it's got to be the shoes.
She tore her
There's
foot out.
a story.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the
Yes,
story.
yes.
Yeah,
No,
I'll tell
I'm
you the
aware.
story later. All right. Before we continue on with our list right now, we've got some really cool stuff coming your way on the Collider Video YouTube channel that you should know about. A little show that Rocha hosts called Mailbag. Here's a promo. Oh, no.
I'll do the promo right now.
Adam in the
hey,
booth.
everyone. Collider
It's all
Mailbag
good.
this weekend. Come on Saturday and Sunday. We drop at 7 a.m. PT. I've got Christian Ruvalcaba as my guest on Saturday. Winston Marshall coming back to the show on Sunday. Answer all of your questions from the Collider fans about the world of movies and entertainment.
Is that this coming weekend?
That's this coming weekend
But
on
wait,
Saturday
this
and
airs
Sunday.
on Monday.
Oh, this
No,
airs
it
on Monday?
doesn't.
What?
No.
What's happening? What's
My
that?
gosh. All right.
guy.
Let's pretend none of this ever happened and just move on
So
with
confused.
our day. All right. Now what do we do? No, I do have another plug I have to tell you guys about. The top 10 fan-ranked Star Wars movies. So we did a bunch of videos based on your rankings of the Star Wars movies so you can watch them as they appear on the channel. And on top of that, we have a whole bunch of personal top 5s. I know all 3 of us participated, and I believe those start running tomorrow, so keep an eye out for them as well. All right. Back
Rocha
to
made
the
my
list.
top 5 this
Did
year,
he
by the
really?
way.
He's
Yeah.
on my top 5 too.
What?
There you go.
That can't be right. Thank you,
Are you
so
blushing?
much. It's very sweet
Right.
of both of you. No, tell me the truth afterwards. Yeah, go ahead.
Best performance.
Oh, come on. I
Rocha.
mean, is there no other answer? There's no other answer for me but Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
There's no other answer. There just really isn't. And no offense to any of the actors, and certainly no offense to any of the incredible actress performances we had this year. This one is just next level. And when you see something and you know it, as long as all of us have been watching films, you just know it when you see it. And you wait for something to come close to it. And in my opinion, nothing really did all year. Joaquin Phoenix is a master actor. What he was able to do, what he's grown into over the last few years is just incredible. And it's fun to watch a person embrace their talent and really sink themselves into roles and disappear from You Were Never Really Here to Joker. There is a through line for me, certainly from The Master to the You Were Never Really Here and Joker. There's a through line for me in performances. And this is incredible and deserves every single award he's going to get.
Did you choose the same, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I think John pretty much said it all. Like, this guy left it all out there on the table. It's why I don't want to see a sequel. I don't know if Joaquin would want to play this character again, get back into that headspace and deal with the physicality all over again. This is an iconic performance. I don't know. Do you put it over Heath Ledger, John?
Man, that's a very difficult
tough.
question. I think because it's two separate movies.
Right.
So I can't compare the
And
performances.
one's a lead and one's a supporting
Yeah,
performance.
and I'll
really.
put them both over Nicholson. That's for damn sure. But
Yeah.
I think for me, it's a very tough conversation to have. But both brought the terror and the fear that Joker's supposed to instill with their performances.
I think you're right. I was talking to a friend of mine, Matt Silverman, and he asked me, like, what's the best performance you've seen all year? And we both just, looked at each other and said, Joaquin.
Yeah.
Like, you're right. There's just no other choice.
I definitely think he's one of the best of the year, but in an effort to add another name to the conversation, I went Matthias Schoenaerts for The Mustang, which I think is a completely underrated, underseen movie. I mean, if anybody out there has not seen it, and I'm sure there are many of you, please go seek this movie out. It's a really, really impressive, I can't stress that enough, feature directorial debut. And his performance in it is, I mean, it's so raw and powerful and nuanced. I mean, the way he takes that character through from beginning to end, it really, really gets me. And especially when it comes to how he kind of like draws you in and puts you in his character's head, because the complexity of his situation, he's an inmate at a prison. He was just in solitary confinement, and he's hesitant about going back into the general population. But what helps him with that is being part of a Mustang training program, which is a real thing that exists. And, just the complexity of why he doesn't necessarily want to be out and about is just such a rich, interesting scenario. And I think he really brings the most out of it.
I don't think it's the performance of the year, but I think that this guy is one of the best actors working today. I wrote about CAA signing him nearly 8 years ago. Like from Bullhead to Rust and Bone to like even Red Sparrow, which I loved. Like this guy, he's just an incredible performer, and he can play big. He's like intimidating. Like he's one of the last actors, maybe along with Tom Hardy, that I'd want to see in a dark alley late at night. And I can't wait for him to sell out. Because when he does, and he takes on one of these big Marvel or DC movies, I think he is going to absolutely crush it.
I'm almost, unless that's what he wants, I'm almost rooting for him to go the other route and find something that has a legit shot at being an Oscar contender, because I think an Oscar is very realistically in his future. He's so good in that.
Yeah.
All right, so you both went Joker and I went Mustang. Now we have Best Ensemble. Anybody?
I'll go
Anybody?
first.
Okay.
So before I give you my choice, I want to give up two mentions.
Oh boy, Jesus
and they're
Christ.
to comedies.
I didn't know
because
this was a possibility.
Comedies get totally overlooked.
Don't pick mine.
Yeah,
you know
just pick yours.
what mine is.
I don't know if I do, but 'cause
Okay.
I didn't read the emails either. I thought Late Night and Long
Okay.
Shot both
Oh,
had
okay.
incredible
I'm surprised.
incredible ensembles. Like Late Night, the whole writers' room: John
Yeah.
Early, Paul Walter Hauser, Max Casella. I love Dennis O'Hare, Emma Thompson, Mindy Kaling, John Lithgow. Like everyone just crushes it. Ike Barinholtz, Amy Ryan. Loved what they did. Loved Long Shot as well. O'Shea Jackson Jr. Her aide,
Yeah,
June
her
Diane
name-
Raphael. She's
great.
fantastic. But for me, the best ensemble was The Farewell. I just thought everyone in that movie was on absolute fire, whether it was Awkwafina or Xu Zhenjiao or Tsai Ma. And is it Diana Lynn? I forget the other one who plays the mother. But just to create a family and have, there's no weak links in the cast. Even like the goofy cousin, I thought he was great. I loved everything that Lulu Wang and everyone who she found in this movie. And yeah, it was Diana Lynn.
That is, that's a definite good call there. Just because now mine probably seems obvious to everybody watching the show.
Yeah.
Mine's Booksmart. I really do think that Beanie Feldstein and Caitlin Dever are something special in this movie, and they deserve all the credit they're getting right now. But when you look at that ensemble overall, one of my favorite qualities in a high school coming of age comedy like this is when you could look at anybody and I don't know, whether it's you could see a little of yourself in them, or it's just, the place in the school system that you would most want to fit in. There's just someone that you can kind of gravitate to for a different reason, and they're all so memorable. There's so many of them, and I could tell you something about every single one of them. So I thought that Olivia Wilde and the casting director just did an A+ job putting that group together.
Skylar Gisondo is great.
So
in it.
good.
Diana Silvers was our up-and-comer of the month, obviously. Molly Gordon, who plays AAA,
Yeah.
she's great. Noah
Good boys.
Galvin, who plays George, the
Yep.
sort of very flamboyant one. Billy Lord, Eduardo Franco. You're right. This is a really good ensemble for a young teen comedy.
And also the adults.
Yeah.
Sliding and doing a great job.
Adults included.
Sudeikis is always great, and so it's fun to see him in something like this. I cop out with the easy answer here. It's Avengers Endgame for me. It's like this ensemble is just untouchable in terms of acting ability, awards consideration, ability to bring real depth to the characters that are superhero characters, right? You can cop out real surface performances, but the MCU demands more. And they all step up to the plate in different ways throughout this series, whether it's Scarlett Johansson's scene where she's sacrificing herself with Jeremy Renner, or it's Doctor Strange in that moment with Robert Downey Jr., or Robert Downey Jr. at the end. That moment is so brilliantly acted by everyone involved in that. It's fantastic. And of course, throw in Chris Evans and his Captain America and his journey, his moment that he has under the old age makeup with Anthony Mackie, with Sebastian Stan. Great stuff all around. And of course, Mark Ruffalo getting a chance to spread his wings with the Hulk and do something new with the Hulk. Another fantastic great character actor who has killed it in independent films for years. So all of these actors just bring so much complexity and life and depth to their characters that this is not just a comic book superhero movie. It's so much more than that because of their ensemble.
You said Chris Evans, so now I have to break my own rule and do one honorable mention for Knives Out.
Yeah, of course.
Knives Out is another one that is just so perfectly cast to the point that every single person gets their time to shine. Every single person has something of value to add to the story, and they're all just a blast to watch. All right, last one. Jeff, I'm going to give it to you first on Best Hidden Gem of the Year. Actually, before we even jump into it, just to preface again, the reason we're doing Best Hidden Gem and not Best Movie of the Year on this show is because we all did our own individual top 5, so you're going to have to wait and see that until they each drop day by day. But right now, Best Hidden Gem of 2019.
All right, well, I had an answer and an honorable mention, and I'm flipping them.
Ooh.
So the honorable mention is going to be Arctic.
Get ready, Adam.
Which is the Mads Mikkelsen movie, a survival movie. I thought it was incredible. I love these kinds of movies. Did you see it?
I haven't seen it. I was worried because Polar wasn't that good. So Arctic is good.
Polar, that is like a crappy Netflix action movie.
Well, he's in both of them, so I was concerned.
And I think they both come out right around the same time.
Almost the same weekend.
How ironic.
I don't. This showed me a totally different side of Mads Mikkelsen. He was incredible in this movie.
Okay.
It is really like a one-man tour de force, even though he is lugging someone else around. But the movie that has gone completely overlooked. Nobody's talking about it. No, she's not mentioned on any of the best.
Here we go.
The female directors who were overlooked this year, and I'll tell you why. It's because she sold her movie to HBO.
I know exactly where you're going with this, and yes.
Pippa Bianco's Cher, starring Rhiannon Barreto, is an incredible fucking movie. Is an incredible movie. And it just has gone completely under the radar because it's an HBO movie. It didn't get a theatrical release. This was an A24 movie, and it should have had an A24 level discussion around it. An amazing, very powerful movie with an incredible performance at its center. Please go, if you are an HBO subscriber, when you're done watching Watchmen and The Outsider, make 90 minutes for Cher.
Okay. I'll put it on my list.
I think that might be my favorite answer of yours this entire show because I can't emphasize everything you just said enough. That movie, I saw it at Sundance, and oh my God, it just it kind of knocked me on my ass, that kind of feeling. And the two of them are so good. I don't know if I ever told you this from the interview, but another thing after I saw it that made me appreciate their work even more is the story of how it actually came to be, where they ran into, I believe, passport or visa trouble for Rhiannon because of where her father's from. They weren't going to let her into the U.S. So rather than recast the lead role, they moved the entire production to Canada. And I think, that kind of dedication to a lead that you cast is super important because when you see the final product, it's a good thing they did that. And I think they both have extremely bright futures ahead of them.
Yep.
Rocha.
Good choices.
What you got?
This one is also going to end up in my top 5, ironically enough, and that's The Last Black Man in San Francisco. Not a lot of people saw this film, kind of came and went, unfortunately, but I tried to trumpet it as loud as possible for my own little podium in the world to try to get people to come and see this thing. Such incredible work from first-time director Joe Talbot. It is a poetry. It was a poem of a film. It's an absolute poem, and it just explores the lies we tell ourselves, not just as people, but as a city. and what we tried to hide, what we try not to show, because we want to move into a certain section of our lives. And then when the truth comes face to face with us, what we do with it, and also it's anchored by some incredible performance from Jimmy Fails and Jonathan Majors as this friendship grows and almost fractures in half as the movie goes along because of the delusions that you tell yourself to exist in life. Both those, it's just an incredible film. And I wish more people would give this thing some love. All of us know this. Every year there are films that come out and it doesn't get the attention, doesn't grab the eyes of enough people to get awards consideration. But we all go, these are untouchably great films, and this is certainly one of them.
I do have to watch that. That screener's been sitting at the top of my pile for a little too long, so you might have just motivated me
I'll be curious
to finally prioritize it. My best hidden gem, Jeff, I think this is something you'd actually like. Honestly, Rocha, just for taste purposes, I don't know if it's up your alley, but it's a horror movie called Head Count that's available on Netflix. I saw it this year at the Overlook Film Festival, and some of you guys know how much I love the show Channel Zero, but also just creepypasta stories on screen, a story that originated online and is passed around from person to person and evolves along the way. And I think that movie takes the creepypasta idea and runs with it very, very well, especially after we had Slenderman in 2018. I just thought that this kind of storytelling was so refreshing. Feature directorial debut again. I believe her name is Elle Callahan, and it's one of those movies where you could tell it's a low budget movie with limited resources, and she just makes the most of all of it. I think it's such a clever story, and I might have walked around New Orleans after that. Like, it's a name that you're not supposed to repeat. So I just kept running around and whispering to Nadano, history, over and over and over again. It's something that really gets in your head. But personally, for me, it was in a very fun way. And I was so impressed by that one. Ooh. All right. That's
I'm gonna have to check that out. I will check that out on your recommendation.
I really think you'll like that. That's a wrap on our best of 2019 movie talk episode. But again, we're going to have some personal top fives coming your way soon. So keep an eye out for all of that. Rocha, Jeff, thank you so much for being here.
Happy New Year.
Adam in the booth, thank you for your hard work. To everybody out there watching this episode, please do not leave it without liking and sharing it. I hope you are enjoying this holiday season. Wishing you guys all a very happy, healthy New Year.